Hi, this is ASMR Mermaid here, and today I'm going to give you my top 10 tips on getting over a breakup. You're going to see me looking down a lot because inside to side because I can't see this camera. It's really weird, but my info is on my iPhone because of course I came up with this like super late last night. So yeah, it's also going to be a match lighting video. So after every tip, I'm gonna light a candle. All right, now this video is for anyone who is getting over a breakup, regardless of how long it's been since the breakup. And it doesn't matter if you were the person who was dumped or if you were the one who broke up with them. And it's also for someone who, if you've ever had a friend who just got broken up with and they came to you for advice and you didn't know quite what to say, this will give you a good idea of some things that have been helpful for me. I've survived a lot of my share of breakups, so I think this stuff has worked for me. Hopefully it will work for you as well. All right, now the first thing I want you to think of before we even get into this is why you're so upset right now. I'm assuming that you're upset. Okay, so if you are upset, I want you to think about the reasons why you might be upset and just know that it is perfectly valid for you to feel that way. Actually, at this point in time, it's valid for you to feel pretty much any way you want. You might feel crazy, you might be doing weird things that you wouldn't normally do. That's why they say when you experience a breakup not to make any huge decisions at that time, because you're probably not thinking quite the same way you would, except for haircuts. I always say go ahead and get that new haircut. That's not one of my tips though. All right, so some reasons why you are upset right now. If that was, your first love or your first boyfriend or girlfriend, that was a huge stepping stone in your life, as well as if that was somebody who you anticipated spending maybe the rest of your life with or something like that. So really, in your mind, what you lost was actually the idea of that person, the idea of your soulmate being gone. Okay, so it's not just that physical person that you lost, but it's that idea in your head that this person was going to be the one for you and now they're gone. And it's trying to get over that I think is the most difficult part. Not the actual physical person not being there, but that idea of the person. And many times the idea we have in our heads of the person is not even the same as how they really were, which makes things difficult. Another thing that makes it hard sometimes is that person, this is for someone who lost their like high school girlfriend or boyfriend, or really at any stage, I guess. But basically what happens is if you finally broke up with someone you were with a long time, you start to go back to all of those memories that you had with that person, and especially like a high school sweetheart. I feel like that in some ways is like your last sliver of holding on to your kind of like your childhood, your teenage years, your high school. So that was your last connection to that. And when that's over, it's like you're really letting go of a piece of yourself. So it could be very difficult. So that's another challenge that you're going to have to try and overcome at this point. But on the other end, breakups can be so good for your mental health eventually. It makes you stronger. It really does. Shout out Kelly Clarkson. But no, for real. I don't think I'd be the person I was today without surviving some of the breakups that I survived. And I didn't think at the time that I could make it through certain situations. And now I look back and I'm like, really? That was stupid. So without further ado, here is my tips. Okay, number 1, don't look at things as permanent. So I think that what we start to do is, as soon as a huge event happens like this, we start to get in our heads that we're never going to find someone like them again, or that we're going to be alone for the rest of our life, or like all of these negative thoughts keep coming up. Or you think of all the things and you're like, he always did this for me, or she never did this, blah, blah, blah. You start thinking of those things. I want you right now to take out certain words from your vocabulary, and that includes the one in your head, so your speech to yourself. So I want you to take out the words never, always, and ever. This will just help you realize that nothing is like the superlative, okay? So they were not perfect, and this bad time is not going to last forever. You're not going to be alone for the rest of your life. In fact, the quicker that you get over this person, you're actually going to open up that space. And I'm not talking about like physically anything like that. I'm talking about in your mind, you have this attachment to someone, and the minute that you're able to let that go is the minute that new, better things are going to come into your life. Not necessarily people, but maybe opportunities. This always surprised me, because it was like the moment that I actually was able to let go and cut the strings in certain situations, it was like magic. Like random people would come up to me and talk to me, and I met so many new friends, and just weird opportunities would come up that I never ever thought would happen or would dream of in a million years. And they were things that probably, if I was still attached to that person, I would have been like skeptical about, and I wouldn't have probably been as open to it. So by letting go, you give yourself more space to allow new, better things to come into your life. And then just taking it one day at a time also is in this step. Like, stop looking at it as so permanent, in the fact that, who knows what the future can bring. Honestly, I'm not trying to tell you to get back with that person at all, but like, you never know. But right now, if you ever want any hope of getting back with that person, your first step is to get over them. And I know that sounds crazy, but they are never going to want to take you back if you're just the same as you were, because obviously that didn't work. What you need to do is work on you. 100% know what you want, get over you, and you'll see. But it's going to be, you're not the same person from minute to minute, second to second that you were a second ago. So to say like that you're never going to get back with this person, you don't know who you're even going to be next year or in a few years, or who they're going to be. So God only knows if you would even want to be with that person anymore, or if there's this amazing other option coming up. All right, time for our first candle. I hope these light. Was our first step. My second step is, think of how your mother or sister, if they were going through the same situation, how would what advice would you give to them, or how would you want them to handle this situation? Would you want them to be sad? Or if you were, like, if you close your eyes right now and you thought how you would want them to feel inside, you know, you would want them to feel this sense of peace inside. I want you to give yourself whatever it is that you would want to give them. Be your own best friend right now, because that's what you need. Also, I want you to visualize in your head whatever it is that you need, and it's probably peace at this point. You need peace and freedom, most likely. Maybe some clarity. Whatever it is, I want you to ask for it, and think of literally a petition, okay? If you had a petition asking for clarity or asking for peace, who would sign that for you? Maybe you have, you know, a dad who would sign it, or a best friend, or maybe you live with a cat and they would put their paw print on there. Or it doesn't even have to be people you know, maybe Gandhi would sign it for you. I want you to come up with as many people on that list as you can if you ever start to feel sad, and know that everybody on that list is supporting you and kind of sending up their hope and their prayers for you, and they're wishing you the best, and that you have this network of people who are rooting for you and who want you to do well and to succeed, because you were not brought on this earth to be sad or miserable. And even through the worst of times, like the worst possible situation you can even think of, you by no means have to be sad. You can if you want to, and I'm not going to judge you for it, and no one should judge you for it, but you don't need to, and you should really allow yourself to feel happiness and joy and good feelings even through all the suckiness that you're going through. Okay, so don't forget to do that for yourself, and to take care of yourself the way that you would want a loved one to take care of them. That includes eating, sleeping as much, a normal amount. Make sure you're drinking liquids, make sure you're drinking water. I should clarify, make sure you're not drinking too much alcohol or doing drugs or doing stupid things like that are gonna, make matters worse, or trying to turn to other things, so just forget it. The only way through this is through it. You can't just cover it up. You need to man up or woman up and get over it by going right directly at it. Accept what is happening. And that's the big thing here. You want to accept. Denial is not going to help. Okay? So that was my second one. So I'm going to light a new candle. That was tip number 2. Tip number 3. Alright, so this one, even though I just said you need to accept it and not just cover it up, tip number 3 is to really get off your ass. So you're going to need to really make moves and try hard to get over this person. Okay, it's not like a passive thing where you can just sit around and you'll just eventually get over them, even though every day you sit there and think about them all day. Like, that's not going to help you. What you need to do is come up with things that you actually love, especially things that maybe that person might have kept you from. Not maybe on purpose, but maybe you spent your time with that person instead of doing this or whatever. So now you have that time in your schedule. So I want you to think of something that you've always wanted to try or be better at, or succeed at, and go ahead and work on that. Work like your life depends on it. Like, really put your efforts into this, or try a bunch of things, and just stop being afraid of things. Like, go be adventurous. This is your time to explore and discover and really see what else there is out there in the world. When I had my first like real big breakup, I ended up studying my ass off and passing this really huge test that I never ever thought I'd be able to pass, like in a million years. So it sort of helped me get there. And I know a lot of people turn to fitness. I learned to juggle lots of things, like random things, like hobbies. You can travel, which is really cool. Learn a new language. Do really well at work. Like, you know, there's a lot of things that you can do that you weren't putting your efforts in before. Even if it's building a relationship with certain friends that you haven't, you know, had that relationship with in a while. My cat is trying to come up here. Come on up. Come here. Okay, maybe not. Okay, I don't know what she's doing. All right. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna let's end that tip there. Oh, and the big thing actually on this tip is that I would highly suggest reading self-help books. And I know that sounds so corny, but I absolutely love it. To me, it gives you directions on how to get over something, or how to do whatever you're trying to do. So there's a lot of free ones online or on Kindle, or go to your library if you want. Okay, so that was tip number 3. Also, listening to really good music helps as well. Like badass music, you know. I like to break out like the Kreayshawn and Little Debbie. I like girl rappers, like old school girl rappers. Okay. Number 4, don't talk to that person as much as possible. I understand there are certain situations where you probably have to, like if it's like custody stuff or a coworker or something like that, or you still live with them, which I've been in that situation too, and that sucked. Not by choice, it was bad. But anyway, but what I would suggest is really, no matter how much you might want to get this person back or whatever, do not talk to them, even if you have to take that one day at a time. I used to be so obsessed with this one person who broke up with me that I would have to actually like make a little tally mark of every day that I could get by without texting that person or trying to call that person, like drunk calling or whatever. It was just bad. But that's what I ended up doing. I ended up like making it a goal. You know, if you talk to them every day, it's hard to just cut that person out of your life. So I was trying not to be a psycho and trying to get over it, but I realized that was just for that person. Like, don't just do it not to be a psycho. If you want to be a psycho, just do it. But do it for you, because it's actually going to be so much healthier for your sanity to not keep bringing this person back in who doesn't want to be with you. Like, don't do that to yourself. It's not fun. It's like you're just stupid. So what you need to do is, if you are currently texting him or her and talking to that person every single day, I want you to make it a goal to cut it down to once a week, and then once a month, like whatever you have to do to get this person out of your life. I like to actually think of myself in a little bubble, and just don't let that person into your bubble. Like, that bubble is your bubble, and they cannot get into your heart anymore. It's like that Lady Gaga sign, like, you can have my whatever, you can't do what you want with my body, but you can't have my heart or my mind. Okay, So leave them out of it. They already messed that up. They can't have another shot at that right now. And that's the other thing. Some of you might be so lonely or whatever at this moment that you're so willing to get back with that person. Here's my thing on that. I'm not telling you not to get back with that person. In fact, I've had some good experiences with that. And I know that sounds weird, but I have. But what I suggest, this is going to sound crazy, is that you give yourself a set time. Either it's an actual time, like I won't get back with them until 2 months from now. Make sure it's long enough that you can both work on yourselves. Or you can give yourself goals, like I won't get back with this person until I get the job I wanted, or blah, 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 like whatever goal it is that you want. Or until that person does whatever you want them to do, you know? But my favorite, and this is going to sound like crazy, but breakups are crazy, so whatever. My favorite is do not get back with that person until they've had at least one relationship after you guys broke up, and you've had at least one relationship after you guys have broken up. So don't let them be the first person you go back to. Try at least one more person first. And I'm not saying to rush into that either. Like, no. I'm saying legitimately, don't break up with the same person 2 times. Like, if you want to have another breakup in between there, and then you go back to that person, by all means, whatever. But usually 9 times out of 10, by the time you actually have had another person, you're so far over that person, it's like whatever. And do not say, that's the only person for me, blah, blah, blah. Just stop. No, it's not. Go at least try another person first, and then see. All right. Let's see. That was tip number 4. Okay. Tip number 5. If you're having trouble seeing that person as anything negative, okay, you are looking at that person in this really idealized way, what I want you to do is write down all of those things that you love about that person, okay? So whether it's, oh, they were so funny, they were so smart, they did this, this, and this for me, no one can ever do that again for me, blah, 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 blah. Okay, write that down. Write down all of the things you loved. And if you want, you can write down the bad things, like on another section, so that you can actually look back and say, oh, he wasn't all that great, or she had issues too, because no one is perfect, and you know they have things that they could have improved or done differently. No one is perfect. But what I want you to do with that is use it to actually meditate on that and attract a new person into your life who has those qualities. But, because that's kind of basic, right? That's not my tip. My tip is those qualities or the things that you are most missing in that person, right? So whether it's like, oh, that person, usually it's that they're funny, honestly. People are always like, oh, they were so funny, they got me, you know, they really got me, I could talk to them, blah, 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 blah. Okay, whatever, you can, whatever. But anyway, I'm not putting you down, I swear, I understand. Or that they're crazy. I know that was one that I used to say, this guy was so crazy, but like in a good way. He was so interesting, and I'm never going to find someone who's that exciting and all that. What those qualities are telling you is that those are the things that you were missing from your life when that person came into it. So those were the things, and maybe not missing, but those were the roles that they were playing in your life. So if it was that they were funny, that was your entertainment right there. that person filled that void of entertainment for you. So go find funny friends, go watch funny videos, go be funny yourself, film things, make YouTube videos, be that quality in yourself, or get that some other way so that you're not coming to that person for that. Or maybe that person was your support. Well, then you're going to need to find new supports. Maybe that person did physical things for you, like they made you breakfast. Okay? And I want you to get to the point where you're like, all right, if I'm going to be with somebody, they better be damn well good, because what can you offer me that I can't provide myself? Okay, that's the way I want you to look at it. What are they going to bring to the table that you're not already bringing? Because you are capable of getting a job and having money and all that, maybe. You're capable of providing for yourself, basically, is what I'm saying. You can get by. You're capable of being super smart. You're capable of entertaining yourself, having friends, making new friends if you don't have friends, getting out there, seeing the world. You're capable of so many things. So what I want you to do is start listing next to those things that they have, all the qualities that you have, or things that you need to work on yourself. Like maybe you were relying so much on that person, like they were filling that void or that need in your life. And don't say no, they weren't, because why were you with them then? They did something for you, right? You got something out of it. So obviously there was some things that you were getting from them. So whatever you were getting from them, find another way to get it. And that's not saying like go sleep around with everybody. That's not what I'm saying at all. There's other things for that, okay? Just don't do that. Don't do it. It's bad times. But I'm not judging. Whatever. All right, that was probably tip number 5, but I'm not good at counting. Okay, and when I do say don't sleep around, I'm by no means like, actually, I don't even know why I said that, because do what you want, honestly. This is a time in your life when you just be careful. That's all I'm going to say. Be careful with what you do, and realize that everything does have consequences. So don't think like, oh yeah, I could just go, whatever. You don't want something terrible to happen just because you're going through a breakup. Or you don't want to hurt other people because you're going through a breakup. That's also important. But I do recommend like getting out there and meeting new people and talking to as many people as you want, and be flirty, and you don't need to worry about things like at all. You don't need to jump into anything at this point. You could just like take your time with getting to know people. Tip number 6. Tip number 6 is just to be a total badass. So I want you to find the most badass person that you can and make that your role model. And this isn't really a badass person, but it's like a very carefree person. And I think that's what I needed in my life when I was going through a breakup. And I used to watch Pirates of the Caribbean, and Johnny Depp was very like carefree and lived in the moment and all that. And that's the attitude that I think you need to survive a breakup and get through it. So emulate Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean, and just like be you, do you. Don't worry so much about other people. Just be a badass and you'll be fine. Oh my gosh, I have no finger strength, I guess. Okay. There we go. Come on. Okay, that was tip number 6. Just the tip, just for a second. I don't know what's wrong with me. Okay. Number 7. Realize that there are, okay, I don't know, I was just reading it off instead of actually thinking about what it said. All right, number 7 is, I want you to think of where you met this person. And maybe you're the exception and you met them someplace really, really crazy. But the majority of people probably met this person either online, at like their high school or college or neighborhood, or like an activity that they did or whatever, maybe like CrossFit or the gym or whatever, or church, or some activity that you're in or do a lot, or through friends, whatever. But I want you to think of, let's take your high school, for example, like if this is for a high school sweetheart. Okay, so you met this person in high school. How many people were in your high school graduating class? If they were in your class. Okay, so let's say there was like 400. So out of 400 people, you found your soulmate. That's pretty awesome, right? Now, let's take it a little further. How many people are in your whole county, do you think? Okay, so if you think about that, what are the chances that there's not like one other soulmate or something in your county? And then take it a step further. How about your state? Okay. How about your country? I'm assuming you have a state, but I mean, some countries don't, so sorry. Anyway, whatever it's called, like just keep getting bigger and bigger. And then finally look at the whole world, and then look at the universe, because check out these aliens, aliens. Anyway, but yeah, so just realize that the chances of that just being the one person you're ever going to meet who gets you, and that there's nobody else in the world who gets you better, there's other people, okay? I guarantee you there's lots of other people who are freaking awesome in this world. I'm awesome. I mean, my cat's awesome. Yeah, so you're awesome. And just remember that. Remember that you're awesome. Okay. That one was a good one. I got more finger strength. That was tip number 7. Okay. Okay, tip number 8. Okay, tip number 8 is, and this is especially important if you filled kind of like a caretaking void in their life, and especially if you're the one who did the breaking up with, or whatever, if you dump them, is not to feel guilty and not to feel bad for that person, okay? They are a grown person. They can handle themselves. They're going to be okay, and that is not your responsibility to be their mommy or their daddy right now. It is your responsibility to take care of you. Okay, so stop thinking about whether that person's all right, or, oh, I feel so bad for them, blah, 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 blah. Stop. Don't have sympathy for them at this point. Only have sympathy for yourself, but don't even do that, because then you're going to start being like feeling bad for yourself, and we don't want that. So just know that maybe it's hard on them too. I'm sure it is. But know that they will be okay, and you need to accept that. Accept the fact that they are going to be okay, and they are eventually going to find someone new, and it's going to be all right, just like it's going to be all right for you, because you are also going to find someone new as well. And you're both going to be okay. The other thing, hopefully, is that you need to understand that this person did not die. This person is not permanently gone. At any point, you could probably still be like, hey, if you really needed to, but don't do that. Again, with the whole calling thing, just realize that they are still alive and well somewhere, doing okay. They're not dead. You don't need to mourn for them, okay? You're not mourning for them. You're mourning for the idea of them, which is what we talked about before. So just stop feeling bad for them. Think about yourself. Okay. That was number 8. Oh my gosh. I know y'all are gonna make fun of me for that. I know you will. Where the heck is my candle? Here we go. Oh my gosh, I just realized I don't know if this microphone has been plugged in this whole time. It's like hanging weird. I'll be so upset if it's not. I'm sorry, guys. I'll have to do this whole thing over. All right. That might have been number 8. Yeah, that was 8. Okay. All right, number 9. I want you to think of the worst thing you've ever been through. I know that sounds negative, but whatever. Whether it's the loss of a loved one or a pet, or, the loss of a job, or like something, legal issues, or a sickness, whatever really bad thing that happened to you. Or maybe it was just a really bad day, whatever. Whatever it was that happened to you, I want you to realize that you got through it and you can get through something like that again. This is not, unfortunately, probably not going to be the worst thing that happens in your life. And it's not permanent. You can get through anything. And look at it as one day at a time. You can get through anything one day at a time. And even if let's say you're having trouble, let's say you cry all day, okay? And you're that person who's like, will not get out of bed or whatever. Look at it as, take small increments. So take like a half hour every day to just actually stop doing that. Just be tough for 30 minutes a day. Do something really fun, like whatever, watch a YouTube video, do something that's awesome for 30 minutes. Stop moping. Because you could do anything for a half hour, right? That's easy. Especially do something like go to the gym, half hour going to the gym. You can get through that for a half hour a day of getting off your ass and stop moping. And then gradually increase it, an hour every day. Just being happy, stop thinking about that person for an hour a day. Do you for an hour a day. Move it up until you barely even think about that person anymore, okay? You'll be all right. I'm so upset about this microphone. I'm gonna be so mad if you couldn't hear any of that and I have to redo it all. Oh, it's gonna be terrible. Sorry, y'all are going through a breakup and I'm just sad about my microphone. A selfish little thing. That was number 9. Number 10. Okay, last one. Okay. Last one is that no matter what promises you made to that person, whether you're married to them or, sweethearts or whatever, like been together a long time, or maybe even not, but you just got that person, whatever. You need to understand that you do not owe this person your life, okay? People change, and especially if you had to be the one doing the breakup. Like if they put you in a situation where you had to say, we're done, even though maybe you didn't want it to be done, but they did things, or they really messed up, and you felt that you had to, for the sake of yourself, break up with that person. I think that's one of the hardest positions to be in. Okay, so this one's special for you, but it can apply to everybody. If you are in that situation, I just lost my train of thought. That's terrible. I'm so sorry. Oh, you need to know that you don't owe that person your being. Like, we're not back in the day when, you know, your father sold you for a cow and you're like a possession. Okay, you at any point can change your mind and say, I don't want to be with you. And that doesn't mean that you need to have anything that they did to justify it. You don't need to say, oh, you cheated on me, so I'm going to leave, or whatever. Because what that does when you start justifying it, like, I left because he did this. Yeah, you left because he did that. I get it. But you also left because you don't like being treated that way, right? And maybe that person changed, or you changed. Or even your feelings on that person changed. So I guess what I'm getting at is that you by no means have to have some crazy reason to break up. Like, it doesn't have to be this big thing, because that's what a lot of people do. They'll say, like, oh, well, he wasn't really that bad, now that I think about it. He did this, and this for me one time. You know, he didn't really cheat on me. He just was flirting with a girl and it made me upset, you know, whatever. And you start to justify it, or whatever it was in your head that happened. I want you to realize that whatever it was, it obviously caused enough between you guys that it made you break up. Okay? And it probably wasn't just that one thing. It's never just one thing. So don't be like holding on to that and being that weirdo who's like, oh, if I could just go back in that one day, everything would be different. No, it's always more than that. So calm down. But realize, and this goes for maybe you're the one who got broken up with, they don't need to have a good reason. They don't owe you their lives. Okay? They're a human. They're a soul. They don't owe you that soul. They're not your property, and you're not their property. So just realize that I said the word realize a lot of times in this video. You can probably play a good drinking game with that later if you want to. Just saying. But anyway, yeah. So, you know, you just don't look at yourself as ever owing someone your time or your energy or your love. You can always love that person, but you don't owe them a place in your mind or your soul. Oh, my cat came up. Yay. See, and my final bonus tip is to get a cat, because they're your real soulmate. Look at her. She's so sweet. Aww. So glad you made an appearance in this video. You came right on cue too. Isn't she great? Alright. Good luck, and let me know in the comments if you're going through a bad time or whatever. I got you, you know? And just know that, seriously, I want you to be happy, and so does everybody else. We all want you to be happy, except for that bad person who broke up with you. No, I'm just kidding. Alright. Bye, guys. Just peace, okay? Peace out.